Hi everyone. Thank you for joining Elektro Vox. So I've got a great interview today. I've got Rotersand with me, and thank you ever so much for joining me, both of you. So see Rascal singer, and we've got Krischan, obviously part of the band too. So I've had a look around on the internet, and I've only found one English interview with you 12 years ago, and a German interview about a year ago. So I'm guessing you guys don't do interviews much.
That's
Oh,
true.
from time to time we do. I guess we did another, but that was a radio thing with the Seattle dude.
Yeah,
That was whatever.
yes, that was
But
also
that's
nice.
American English, so it's not English in a way.
Ah, fair enough. But still, thank you, because I appreciate that you don't do this very often.
Mm.
So, firstly, I mean, you've been going for quite a while now. It's about 13 years, isn't it? So,
Oh, even more.
longer?
Much more. It's over 20 now.
Really? Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
there's a demo release which is called Rotersand Demo Summer 2002.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful. And since 2002, and then obviously subsequently your first album, and to now, how would you say Rotersand is different now compared to what it used to be?
Is it different? I think what the red line is that never trust a Rotersand remix, never trust a Rotersand song, never trust a Rotersand production. We do what we want to do. We do what we want to do, and we do what creates goosebumps in ourselves.
Yeah, and I can appreciate that. I mean, whenever you put on a Rotersand release, you know you're going to get good music. You know you're not going to get something bizarre. What do you feel is the most important change that you've both made over the years with your music?
Actually, from my point, we just got deeper into it. So on the one side, we got deeper into it, what might be kind of a core idea of the Rotersand sound, with got a certain kind of danciness and melancholy in it. And on the other side, it's partially stretching out more, like tracks like Silence or something is something we wouldn't have done like 20 years ago, in a way. So
Okay.
it's actually maybe just deepening it and being a bit more courageous about colors we embed in our sound. So it's not like we have a plan what we want to design or something, or what we want to produce. So it's just happening, and whatever happens kind of automatically, somehow magically fits into this whole Rotersand sound thing, which I guess is hard even for us not to describe or something, but to put boundaries on it or something. It's all based on maybe what Rascal said with the goosebumps. It's all based on a common sense that we got inside the band, that it's just basically based on whatever feel tastes, or whatever the band technically, as a third member in the band itself, so is kind of feeling to it. So we even sometimes refer to Rotersand as we will talk to, like we will talk to you or something, like talking to a person.
Yeah. Okay. And I mean, your music over the years has always had a sense of, not only in the albums, but when you're performing live, there's always been this sense of sort of love and emotion and connection to the people that you're singing to, of course. But also seems to be the theme in your music of to be different is to be, a rebel, to be, an anarchist. So where does that sort of feeling come from for you both, and how do you like to express it the most when it comes to your music?
Maybe it's just who we are. Maybe it's just what we, without reflecting on it, just are. I mean, both of us have really like people and like to connect to people, and both of us are quite positive. We have a very positive attitude basically towards the world. Both of us really believe in love and in empathy for each other, and for the beauty of the world, for the beauty of this creation in a way. And one drive really is to express this, that life or this world deserves that we care for it, and that we treat it with respect, and and a certain responsibility. I think that's a strong driver for us, that we are thankful for what we have, and thankful for this planet full of beauty. Of course, knowing and seeing all the shit and the hate and the bullshit in this world, of course. But our emphasis is and will always be to stress the beauty of it, and to stress the human quality in it. There are a lot of examples for it. Take a title like a track like Higher Ground. It's about an imaginary person, and we just put some character features, I don't know how to say it, some skills of people that we really like together, and formed it to one character, to one person, that we sing about it. You live on higher ground, humanity at ease. So I think that's really the core driver, and maybe higher ground is focusing it, or how to say, higher ground really puts it all together.
Yeah.
And especially what Rascal mentioned is this kind of openness and acceptance of people in its difference, and especially in its bizarreness. So, and that's something that always felt kind of attractive to me in, however you want to call it, goth, dark music scene, whatever, that it kind of incorporates or nearly welcomes everyone. So in all their whatever, there's a strong part having the whatever BDSM, sexual fetish, LGBTQ plus, you name it thing, and that's all something that got its certain beauties. So we see the positive sides in it, even though that the goth scene usually is connected to whatever black being outsiders, kind of depressed, and all that kind of cliches that are often around it. And we just shift the perspective and twist the angle, whatever, by 180 degrees, and just see the beauty of it, that there are those safe spaces that people can rely on and be themselves. And that's kind of beautiful, actually.
Yeah. So your music is a celebration of all these things, really, then?
Yeah, or just embracing it, celebration, something. It's just worshipping mainly, I would say.
Okay. And which album of yours do you feel expresses that sort of sentiment most?
I guess it's not an album, it's it's about a bunch of tracks. So even some of the album titles, whatever, for example, Randomness Resistance or something, do feel different in its flavor. So it's more like precisely addressing an issue or something that we saw. I would say that How Do You Feel Today somehow gets close to it in a certain way, because it's just about how another person feels, and as a serious question, not as the cliche phrasish thing that you usually have. So like a serious question of being interested in someone else, or in the person you talk to, in the person, whatever you success, or concerts, live performances, or whoever you meet. So it's kind of an empathic, basic first catchphrase or something into your communication between human beings.
See,
If I would have to name an album that maybe reflects most the DNA of Rotersand, I would choose Welcome to Goodbye. And I would choose the pair of two songs like Welcome to Goodbye as the intro of this album, and then Dare to Live.
Yeah.
Because on one hand, we share the experience of very early losses in our lives. That's something we have in common. We share certain childhood traumata, and people evolve different from those experiences. But although we didn't know each other in childhood, I often have the feeling that we develop and deal with it in a very comparative, in the same way, or in a similar way. And Welcome to Goodbye is a very fragile little ballad thing, talking about welcome to a world that knows goodbye, welcome to the world behind your eyes. And then the consequence of that is that then for a sudden it evolves into this passionate, epic sucker that Dare to Live is. Very strong emotions. You can only try. Dare to live. Do you see? Do you feel? Do you know? So this is really, I think, a strong pair, and it's a little bit the DNA of us, that we, of course, have this melancholy. Of course, we have this fragility in our music and in our lyrics, and then at the same time we say, come on, make something out of it. Dare to live. Dare to be yourself. Stand up for yourself and do something with it, and sync with the world around you. I think that's really strong.
It's a good message. It's one of the most important messages when it comes to music, I think, is that sentiment. So yeah. Well, what point did you both in your life decide that you wanted to make alternative electronic music?
Childhood.
Well, childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess childhood would be a bit early. I would say
I was like 12, 13
15.
years old.
Yeah, 13.
I had already guitar lessons with 12, 13, 14. And then there came something into the market which was called Fostex X15, which was a 4-track recorder for a tape, small tape. And you could record one track after the other, like a record machine, and like a recording machine. And you could overdub it and then have another 3 tracks to play to it. And I had that, and I think I was quite very young teenager, I started to record noises and broken glasses and steel toms and car doors and all this bullshit and combined it with guitar and vocals. So
Nice.
so that was, for me, it was the beginning, and I felt like being avant-garde, of course. And then that time it might have been avant-garde, but that laid already the track. I think that was already the track for me. But I interrupted you, Krischan. Sorry.
No, I didn't even start. Yeah, for me, it was kind of a different angle by whatever, being fascinated by Art of Noise and playing drums back in those days when I was, whatever, 10, 14. And then an epiphanic thing was this whole beginning of techno in a way, like when music became the core of club culture and not pop stars, like not being a show on stage and not everybody looking in one direction, like having just music that doesn't work as a song or something in a song structure or something like that. So it's just in a big vast room which is full of kind of equal people, so that it get this anti-authoric idea of stage. Oh no, this authoritarian idea of stage, just leaving it behind and just having a DJ at a corner. Old club layouts from far before this DJ thing became kind of a stardom thing. That kind of fascinated me, and that brought me to that this kind of alternative, whatever techno at that point was alternative in a way. That is kind of a thing I want to do. That's kind of a movement and even mindset that I liked about music, being anti-pop. So being just about music, not about people. So obviously that changed, even with a band like Rotersand. It changed in itself, obviously, because whatever, the dark scene is partly concert, partly club driven. So the concert part of it is still kind of traditional, but we are kind of working on whatever, integrating it a bit in our show. So still have this connection to people, but also being kind of a more dance orientated performance in a way that you don't necessarily need to watch. So
I mean, I think that's what people find the most enjoyable, really, is the dance side and the emotionally happy side. Yeah, so it's both a good combination. But see, that was the beginning. So where you've been going so many years, has there been a particular moment where you've both nearly given up on it, on Rotersand? And if you did, how did you go overcome it?
actually, for me, it was before Rotersand. I nearly stopped making music. So actually, Rotersand brought me back to being a full-time musician at a point. So
Okay.
In Rotersand, for me, no. There were times that like in every band or in every friendship relationship that lasts kind of long. It got its ups and downs. But I was actually never on the point of giving up on it.
No, me neither. Same.
Okay.
Same. Of course, you have times. I mean, there in the beginning of Rotersand, I had a tough management job, huh? So it wasn't always easy to
Balance life and work.
to balance that, huh? To find the right balance. But I think I'm the biggest fan of the band, and I still am. I really love our music. I really love what we are doing. And after, let's say, one glass of wine, maybe two glasses of wine, I always say to Krischan that I'm really thankful and happy that he's still doing it with me.
Good.
I'm not that emotional guy, but I don't drink wine, so maybe that's a good point in it.
And what's been your happiest moments of Rotersand over the years?
No trick question.
Oh,
Yes.
it's a what comes to your mind first question, I would say. That makes it easy. Just talk about what comes to your mind first. For me, it's the live shows. For me, it's the feeling before a live show. Sometimes, although I hate flying and things like this, but for me, it's also to travel there, maybe not sitting in a plane, but to come into the city of London, for instance, again, like we did a couple of days ago, like 2 weeks or 1.5 weeks or something like that. And then Krischan arrived and he had the same eyes and saying, "Oh, it's so great to be back in London, oh, to see this all. Look the bus, look this, look there." In front of the hotel smoking. And yeah, that's really and then Kolya came and we were sitting in the hotel lobby and then Kolya of Soman arrived. And these are the moments I like it as well. But the energy right before a live show, to feel this energy, to feel this expectation, to feel that to turn the switch, turn the switch and becoming the sometimes self-addicted.
That's your job in it.
Frontman of Rotersand, turning, I would say, a more modest guy, a more shy guy, becoming this berserk. I love that, I love this Jekyll and Hyde thing. That's a personal notion within that.
Like, oh yeah, I have to sing. Yeah. And how about you, Christian? You got a happiest moment?
Yeah, I'm usually kind of a studio guy. So I really like when songs come together in a way that the bits and pieces you have fall into place or something. So I love the process of doing music. So I love the process more than I love the result technically. So when you get the feeling that something comes together well and somehow connects in itself and creates a certain kind of something, whatever, you might call it magic or something, that there's something special in it. Those moments are super pleasing.
Yeah. So
how about
I get this glimpse that Rascal talked about, like standing in front of the hotel in London. I remember that I had it there. I guess I communicated even, like sometimes you get this feeling of, oh well, it's me, Krischan, from kind of a rundown post-industrial city in Germany, now standing in London playing a show. That's kind of great. So you think like, wow, okay, that's not like a super achievement in life or something, but okay, that's something. It's not bad. So
yeah,
there's one magic thing within making music and playing in Rotersand, and it is, well, of course, you have ideas and you dream about a song. Maybe it's a chord progression, it's a vocal line, it's a chord progression of Krischan, it's a sequence of Krischan, whatever. You have something to start with, and that causes a certain emotion, and you get enthusiastic about that little piece of music that's creating this emotion. And then you forget about it. You record something, and then you forget about it. And then 2 weeks later, you hear it again, and it immediately creates the same emotion that you had, 2 weeks ago. And in that moment, you know that there will be people in front of a stage in 1 year, in 2 years, whatever it will be released, that will have this feeling as well. And then you stand there, you perform the song, and you recognize that, you see it. Sometimes it's crying, sometimes it's just being happy about it. Sometimes it's being enthused about it, get crazy and dancing, and that's a magic. I think the magic of creating music, and I never had that strong as in Rotersand.
Yeah, and I think that flows really well into the next thing I was going to ask. Obviously, that's happiest moments for you both in the career, but in terms of happiest moments with fans, now obviously I saw you a couple of years ago at Resistance, and someone let off an inflatable Dalek. For those who weren't there, it was quite large, as the size of a man, if not bigger. A little bit early, before Exterminate, Annihilate, Destroy came on.
In fact,
but
it was on War on Arrow, and you thought, oh, this could be Exterminate.
So this was being bounced around across the venue, and it was great, but it kept hitting things on the ceiling and breaking stuff, and the staff ran out, tried to grab it, tried to fix this pillar that had broken. Someone went backstage and got it out again, got chucked around. So when Exterminate, Annihilate, Destroy came on, you can imagine, obviously you guys were there, but for those, how amazing the crowd found that. And that was a great experience, and everyone was taking pictures with it all weekend. And then, of course, in London the other week, you were given a small crocheted Dalek toy by someone as well. So, I mean, those are obviously wonderful fan moments, but are there any other fan moments that you've experienced that stand out to you like that?
Oh, yes, of course.
Now I'm curious if you remember the same one that I always remember, but I don't know why.
No, I have a deep one.
Yeah.
I have a deep one. Sometimes people relate very strong to certain tracks. And it was on the US tour, I think 2008 or 2006.
2006.
And I think it was Salt Lake City, or I don't know.
No, it was St. Paul.
Yeah, okay.
Other side of Minneapolis or something, this Twin City thing.
But
Maria.
You don't know what I'm not sure if we have the same moment. And there was a young lady, and she told me, after the show, we talked to each other, and she showed up, and then she said that she's so disappointed that we didn't play Hush, which was a ballad on the first album. And then I said, really? Wow, if I would have known before, of course we love to play Hush when we know, And then she was asking me what I have experienced in my life, what we have experienced in our lives, to write a song like this about obviously a loss and trying to find peace with a strong loss, with a heavy loss, and then we lay into each other's arms, and just thinking about it, I feel a certain pressure behind my eyes already, hugging 8,000 kilometers from home. You hug a foreign person, and you are so incredible closely related in a feeling and in an expression of a song, And then she said that this song kept her going. She lost her sister, cancer. She lost her mother, accident, in a very short time period. And then she said it was harsh to wake up in the morning. It was harsh to get out of bed. It was harsh to be able to drive to work. It was harsh to drive back home. and it was hushed to fall asleep. I mean, and there's someone telling you that, starting to cry, and you hug, you know, I mean, and by a song, and that's really, I can't imagine anything that can create such a strong bondage to bounding people together. That's strong, like a song, you know, like an emotion, you know, like an emotion becoming notes and filling time. In that case, 2.5 minutes only. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was
happiness.
that was the moment. I guess it was St. Paul.
Okay.
It's actually the same because I remember it pretty well. Because that moment had a certain kind of deepness, and especially it was comparatively early in our career, in our thing, and it had the same thing that Rascal said, like you just realize in that moment for the first time, like you're whatever 8,000 kilometers away, talking to a complete stranger technically,
Yeah.
And getting this thing of stuff you do resonates for people and has meaning for them. It frightened me a bit because that's kind of what I am. I don't want to have too much responsibility about other people's lives. But on the other hand, it means something, so it is what it is. So it doesn't matter how I feel about it. So it's a little bit connected to this Rotersand as a third member in the band, like being an own person. It's like the stuff you do and the music you do, just once you release it, it's not in our control what it does, how it resonates with people, and how it's affecting them or something. There's something super magic about it. There's something, then it became kind of present to me that there is something in this band that has a certain kind of value or something, which is definitely different from most of whatever abstract techno stuff I did before I joined Rotersand.
So just
and of course it's the enthusiastic moments, the big parties, the big raves, and this is also why we like a lot to come to England, because they're really ravers there, and sometimes I feel most understood with what we are doing in England. I must say, we talked about this from time to time.
Reflections, silent replies, fading traces, moments that will survive. We can be together in a dream forever.
That the Rotersand DNA is matching with the open-minded scene, allowing techno without any doubt, without any reasoning, allowing a lot of techno elements and raving elements, the same time as industrial elements, the same time as pop elements. That's really fantastic.
Yeah.
And different, you know. In Germany, everything is a little bit more in boxes, you know. And people like, for instance, exterminate, but they hate emerging oceans in Germany, or vice versa. And in England, I have the feeling that you really appreciate the full package. because you're open-minded and or maybe more I don't know, more used to, combining different elements, different styles in a creative way. It's in the motherland of pop music in a way. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've kind of noticed that, having been to festivals in Germany and obviously the UK. So the UK lot, we love to dance, as you've seen. We do go nuts. But we do like our little breaks, so the more emotional songs to give us a little rest. Whereas I've noticed in Germany, don't really dance. And so I can see why they don't really like to have, chopping and changing of different styles. But
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
certainly love it.
Yeah,
we
there's
have
something.
we have our core fans, of course, in Germany that go with the full range, but yeah, but it's but it's different. It's different. It's not so many as in England, I would say.
Yeah, because the UK scene feels kind of special to me. It's something like bridging a bit between the German or Central European and the US scene. So in Germany, being kind of in dark alternative music, whatever goth scene is kind of a normal thing in the urban areas. So it's nothing special or something much of a, bless you, of an
Sorry.
identity. Whereas the American scene is super driven by its identity things, like talking about identity politics or something. So that's why discussions or whatever in-scene discussions are super dramatic in the US. And the UK scene seems to be pretty well educated, like most of the American or US-based scene also is. But still having kind of an acceptance in the society that doesn't make them outsiders. So it's a blend of this rave culture and still being an underground scene, because it's not as huge as in Germany.
Yeah.
That makes it kind of special. So that's why I usually super enjoy a Resistance, for instance, something, because it brings together like a real set of freaks, which is not just freaky by its looks, but also in their minds. There's so much hyperly educated and high-rankly and freaky jobs working people around there. So it's really something special, that UK scene in particular.
Yeah, they're definitely a good bunch of people for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what's next for you both in terms of your music? What can we expect from Rotersand in the future?
We were working on the new album.
Yeah.
And we're working on the new album.
And we are working on a new album.
Oh, yeah.
We're not working on the new album.
And
we're working.
I had a look on your website and had a look at your upcoming shows, and Goth Cruise with yourself and Combi Christ. That looks fun. I hope you're excited for that.
Yeah, pretty. It might be weird. It might be totally. It is kind of a total weird experience. So I've been more or less as a crew member on the first one in 2007. So I got a rough idea what to expect. But that's going to be a lot of fun. And it's a weird thing. So it's not like a full goth cruise or something. So it's like, as far as I know, 400 to 500 goth people on a normal giant cruise ship. So it's blended with whatever, roughly 2,000 retired Americans or something, like older Americans who are totally not familiar with having tattooed and alternative people wearing combat boots.
So it's not all
and swim
goth.
shorts at the same time. No, it's not all goth. No, it's roughly whatever 20% goth.
Ah, okay.
So that's kind of an interesting, nice blend. Always seeing this mix of people on there.
Okay. Well, now for some questions for more about yourselves rather than your music and some others. So I want to ask you about other bands quickly. So you're a very well-known and respected band, but do you both feel that there's a couple of new bands out there who deserve a much more exposure, essentially, some love?
always. Haha, Rascal need to think about it too. So what would you?
Oh, you're. I think. Go on. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, there are always tons of good things around. I would need to look up my DJ things recently. So there's in particular one band that I really like that deserves definitely to be acknowledged more. That's Jankat from the US. I think he's an excellent songwriter. He sounds always a bit like being a weird, whatever, Frontline Assembly Skinny Puppy blend, but he's writing amazing choruses. Jankat is definitely one of the, he's not young, but one of the smaller things that definitely would deserve more attention. It's maybe not a super UK style thing, as it's very breakbeat driven, so not like in Prodigy, so more like a Frontline Assembly or something. But isn't that old school?
Yeah, it's a good choice.
There are tons of new bands around usually. Whatever. Here locally, it's Die Tödin, which is pretty nice and nasty, but she's young and very focused also on performances. So it's a bit arty, the performance, which is kind of nice. She got a proper scenic and dance background. And obviously some French guys, like this more on Axis. We saw, I don't know, you didn't see them, Rascal, in Helsinki.
Yeah, but I was driving with them in the shuttle.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. That kind of raw aggression that they have, like French has.
I saw the performance on video because you have been that enthused about it that I was looking for. Sure.
They are great guys, Monex. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. So it's like a super 9 Inch Nails Ministry with this Chrysalid glimpse in it. I guess they're on the same label as Chrysalid. Yeah, those are guys I pretty like. It's not the stuff to spin actually at the moment, but
well, I think they do really well in the UK. So of course, us dance crazy nutters.
Oh,
so.
it got kind of a harsh dance vibe to it without being cliche-ish. So it's really well made. It's technically super well made.
And any spring to your mind at all, Rascal?
I must say, of course, from time to time, Krischan sends me a folder with new scene music. But in the moment, I have a phase. I don't listen to that much to the scene music. I'm much more into techno, progressive trance things, and relaxed things, stuff like that. It started with a band like Artbats, and so I'm more into that. In that sense, something has switched because
it's true.
in the beginning when we met, Krischan was not so much into the scene music and was more into house and techno music. And I was in techno music due to my job at Rough Trade Records in Germany. I was in techno music as well because there were labels like Warp and R&S and really One Little Indian, really amazing, innovative stuff. A lot from England that I was into when we met. And he was DJ in a club in Bochum, the techno club, Planet Techno and House Club in the Ruhr area where we come from originally. And he was sometimes spinning what we have released there, and this is, by the way, how we met actually.
In 1992.
Then I played a lot of scene music to him, and then I was very coming from techno that time, I mean, of course, I'm coming from the 80s and from new wave and the 80s and new wave and industrial scene. This is what I grew up with, and this is what I was into with my band, the Fairsex, in the 80s and stuff like that. But and then I was very enthused about the new bands in this dark scene, because I was not in that at all. End of 90s, early 2000s. In fact, it was a teammate of my basketball team, Jürgen, who brought me back into the Gothic scene, because he had a T-shirt of the Fairsex in when we had training, basketball training. And he was the coach and playing coach. And he had a T-shirt, and I said, "Oh, that's my band." He said, "Are you crazy? Of course it's not your band, but I'm a big fan of this band." And then at home he was watching the record, and he was, "Oh, that's Rascal with hair. Oh, that's amazing. He really was." And he called me. I can't believe it. And then he took me to the Gothic clubs again in Cologne that time. And then I was for the first time listening to bands like The Invitation, Covenant, Diary of Dreams, Assemblage 23. And then wow, that's innovative in a way for this scene. That's great. And I could really relate to it. Yeah. So, yeah, that was
There's one band I forgot actually, which is, I guess, kind of well known in the UK, but not so much in Germany, which is kind of amazing and bringing that super techno-ish vibe, that Years of Denial.
Yeah.
Years of Denial is pretty amazing, actually. Yeah. That's something which is actually super nice to spin.
Yeah.
I guess they're from the UK, aren't they?
I'm not sure, to be honest, but I'll have to look them up.
Because most of them I saw them on Billings, it was in London or something. So I guess Years of Denial is from the UK. Not sure. I would need to look it up, but I can look it up. Then correct myself, being stupid douchebag.
But it's hard to keep track of a lot of the bands, to be honest. There are quite a lot of us. So the next question, whilst you're just looking that up, then, is: do you feel that there's any, or what is the biggest issues, would you say, affecting our alternative community at the moment?
Of course, there's kind of a gap between, which is maybe not that imminent in the UK, between young and old people. That's especially in Germany. Because there is a whatever re-emerging this whole post-punk revival that gets more and more electronic on one side and being more and more bedcave traditionally on the other side.
Yeah.
There's a certain gap in the audiences in Germany. Actually, I would say it's just there are no people in the mid-30s roughly or something like bridging that gap. You got young people and you got kind of us old people. That's kind of a thing. And there's another thing, not sure how much Rascal addresses this, but that's maybe especially a German thing, but it becomes kind of imminent in the US or in current debates in the US. That's kind of a thing that you got some authoritarian tendencies spilling into the scene.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a super bad thing. So and it always plays the kind of tolerance paradoxon card. Like you need to be tolerant against the intolerance, but I don't want it.
Yeah, no.
And there are some debates in the German scene for ages. Not for ages, but for the recent 4 years or something. And that becomes kind of a thing bothering me, as it's kind of a constant feeling of feeling unwell in such surroundings, and you can't avoid them on festivals or something.
Yeah, I've heard, for instance, there's a little bit of a problem around Vegate, with
of course.
And that's one of the problems.
Kind of thing, but it becomes kind of slowly, it gets more and more, and obviously raises question how to deal with it as a band. So, of course, you can't say we're not playing Wave Gothic again, but it doesn't mean that all fans, and that's not their job, actually. need to know whatever part of the background or being interested in, because for them it's a festival. So not playing there just open up some spaces for even more authoritarian characters and musicians entering the stage. So
Yeah.
we need to be there to be kind of a, no, not counterweight, it's not that dominant, but still to be there to present our message, like we explained, like in the beginning of the interview or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's a full safe space and kind of a comfort zone anymore.
What's up? What's up?
Yeah. So on the one hand, kind of sometimes we feel, but that sounds pretty big, and I'm not that flamboyant to put us in that big thing. Like it adds some responsibility or some mission for us to still spread our idea of the world or of this openness and acceptance for first everything. But I don't want to put myself under this pressure that I sometimes feel.
Yeah, I
And
understand.
it's kind of an uncomfortable thing from time to time. So
I can imagine. Yeah. And anything from yourself, Rascal?
No, that's the main thing that is concerning me. See this strange right wing, but we're not right wing.
alt-right. It's kind of that alt-right, not right, being something, hiding bullshit.
And this, so this disinformation drivers, bands within the scene, really respected bands within the scene, musically, historically, being drivers of all this disinformation bullshit,
Yeah.
Not knowing sometimes where it comes from, it's strange agendas playing there.
I mean, I would definitely say right-wing philosophies are the biggest thing affecting the communities too. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's really the absolute opposite of what we stand for.
Exactly. Childhood heroes. Who were your childhood heroes growing up, and who are your sort of heroes and inspirations now?
Childhood hero.
Mm.
Musically or
No, just in general. Be a actor, film character, comic book character, whatever.
yeah. I was a big fan of Flash comics.
Really?
Yeah,
Flash.
Flash. And then later on the Marvel universe, like Silver Surfer. I was a big fan of Silver Surfer comics. And as an adult, I really like Calvin and Hobbes. I don't know if you know this, but I'm really, as an adult, my favorite adult age comic, I would say, is Calvin and Hobbes. That's really fantastic. It's beautiful. Beautiful world represented within a great sense of humor. Yeah. Yeah. Krischan is my hero.
That's yeah.
Professor Music is my hero.
I'm so anti-heroic. I'm even post-heroic.
Yeah, but now you have a crown. No, I was asking myself if I have to bow, hail the king, because the whole interview you have a crown. It's beautiful.
Oh yeah.
You have a crown on your head.
Consequently, I need to say Johnny hates jazz, as they said. I don't want to be a hero, which is okay. No, not even because it's musical, but for me it was always, I had a strange passion for Prince always, because I always liked his ability to do everything. That's something that I really thought like that's really impressive. So from the early days of whatever,
Yeah,
listen to music and knowing a bit about music, I thought that Prince is super amazing.
Good choice.
As a child, I was in
Afterwards,
love.
it's just switched to that idea of that's something of an epiphanic moment when I learned drums. So I had a drum teacher here at the local music school who was like in the mid 80s or even early 80s, programming MIDI playbacks from famous songs for people playing at weddings or something. And that's something that I really like to not have a band. So I thought like Prince is something like a thing like a person who don't technically needs a band, so he can do everything out of himself with this great amount of purity in it. That's something I really found fascinating, but actually was never a way for me in a way to do stuff just on my own. So I do it from time to time, but that's mainly for me. So it's still got this kind of strange fashion for me, how he managed actually nearly to technically would have been able to do everything himself. Isn't there another one? Isn't Lenny Kravitz one of those dudes too? Who can play everything? But maybe not on the level as Prince. So if it's about musical heroes and heroes, I would say Prince.
I feel like most of the musicians in the 80s and 90s, and obviously going into the 2000s, could do everything and anything because they had to. Whereas, yeah, it's a bit different story nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, and then the very last question I had for you both is, of course, do you have anything that you would like to say to your fans?
Yeah, that's Rascal's part. He's the front guy. He's the one
Keep the
communicating
fire
from stage.
burning. Keep the fire burning. There would be no point in doing what we are doing without you. People listening to it, enjoying it, being sometimes enthused about it. Thank you very much for that, and hopefully we keep it going for a while.
True.
Right. Perfect. Well, thank you ever so much for joining me for a little bit longer than I thought we would, but that's great. Thank you so much. And
thank you, Canis. We don't do it that often, but when we do it, we are completely with it.
yeah,
that's why we don't do it that often. So then we wouldn't have time to do music. So we need to be kind of.
And yeah, I really appreciate it, even because you're sick today, Rascal. So yeah, I still really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, well, I saw the doctor this morning, and they put some blood, seeing if it's bacterial. So I would get antibiotic treatment. And I hope it is, because otherwise it takes even longer. And on Sunday we go to Fuerteventura for holidays.
Oh, don't want it to ruin your holiday, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin my holidays, and I'm concerned enough, by flying. I hate flying. I hate sitting on a plane. And then when your ears are not open, it's even more threatening. So I hope I get an antibiose, and then everything will be cool.
Yeah. All right, perfect. Well, yeah, it's been a pleasure speaking to you both, and thank you ever so much for watching.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.